My name is Caitlin, and I am a graduate student at the University of Central Oklahoma, working on a master's degree in forensic DNA analysis. I grew up all over the world. I was born in Wyoming, lived in Houston, Texas, lived in Saudi Arabia. My dad was in the oil business, so we traveled around quite a bit. We're here today at my desk as a graduate student. We get a desk, which is really nice, with little cubbies. I have to share with a boy, but as you guys can see, I've kind of taken over. He gets one drawer, so we're really excited. We've got a lot of things to show you today. We're going to do some lab work and walk through the Institute and talk a little bit about forensic science. So I want to tell you a little bit about forensic science first. It is the application of science to law, and what's unique about forensic science is you don't have to be a traditional scientist. You can be interested in a number of things. They have a lot of different fields, like digital forensics, which involves computers, firearms and tool marks, DNA analysis, forensic chemistry, trace evidence. There's a whole wide array of things that you could potentially do if you're interested in the field. Again, my particular focus is DNA analysis. I've always been interested in science, but I really wanted to find a field where you could take science and apply it to real life situations, and so I kind of developed an interest in forensic science. Initially, I would say, CSI, Criminal Minds, everybody generates an interest from that, and you would find that probably anywhere at the university that students involved in forensic science programs developed an interest from watching these TV shows. You have to keep in mind that it is not as glamorized as it seems on TV. For instance, you can't solve a crime in an hour, you don't always generate a DNA profile, and you definitely don't get to wear high heels to the crime. So again, I'm working with DNA, and what's really amazing about DNA is it can really individualize people. Everybody has different DNA, with the exception of twins, and the only way to really differentiate between twins is actually using their fingerprints. DNA is very objective. It's a straightforward science. You take a sample from a crime scene, you generate an STR profile, and you match it back to a particular known or a particular suspect. And if the STR profiles match, you're able to basically say definitively that this person committed the crime. Now there is like a 1 in a billion chance that it could be someone else, but statistically it's pretty improbable. DNA, what's interesting about it too is that you don't just get it from a homicide case. You can collect DNA from assaults, you can collect DNA from breaking and entering. If you have a gun and the slide comes back and touches the skin, you can collect DNA from the skin sample or the blood left on the gun. There's lots of different ways to collect DNA. You can get DNA from saliva, you can get DNA from urine, you can get DNA from sweat, so it's not just particular to blood. My particular focus is a little bit different. My particular focus is in what we call mitochondrial DNA, and I'm actually taking mitochondrial DNA out of human hair extensions, or weave, some of you may know it as weave. And I got this idea. I used to be a high school cheer coach, and the girls would always put up their stunts, and when they put their stunts, they'd unclip their weave and they'd throw it to the side. So when I came to the Institute, I kind of had this idea. I thought, well, what can you actually take DNA out of these human hair extensions? And if so, how are you going to differentiate them from real human head hair? So if I collected a hair sample from a crime scene, how do I know that it's a real human head hair and not an extension? So the first aspect of my project is to actually get the DNA out. And then the second aspect is I'm going to be using microscopy and chemical techniques to differentiate it from a real human head hair. So one of the questions that's often posed is this a man-dominated field, and do I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because I am a female? And I would have to say absolutely not. There are lots of opportunities for both men and women in the field. In our graduate program here at the University of Central Oklahoma, we have somewhere around 40 students, and I would say that probably 30 of those students are female. So it's very much a female-dominated graduate program here. The head of the OSBI, Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, which is across the street, is a woman. So there are lots of opportunities for both of us. Another question often is, do I feel like I have the stomach to be in this field and see some of the things, the horrific things that you're exposed to? I think that it would be odd if you weren't a little bit apprehensive about that, because there are some really traumatic things that you will be exposed to. At the university where I'm at currently, they do put pictures in PowerPoints. They do talk about stories. You do actually actual work in serology class, for instance, with evidence stained with blood. So you are kind of exposed over the course of time to these types of crime scenes. I think initially going into the field, anybody's going to be a little bit taken back by what they see. So, and it's also very much dependent on what type of work you do. For instance, if you're just a DNA analyst, you're going to be in the lab. You're not going to be at the crime scene. You'll receive evidence with blood on it, but you're not going to see the awful things that you might see if you were a crime scene investigator. If you're digital evidence, you may be exposed to things like child pornography and things on the computer that would be really traumatic. So depending on your field, depends on kind of how you experience these things.
To do outtakes.
Famous. Oh no! I didn't know it was recording. How are they going to take me seriously now as a serious scientist? Fantastic. No, I don't know.
That's good. I can think of anything.
Okay. I've lost all my stuff. I'm like opening doors. I'm like, I don't know. Anything else? Are you still out-taking me? You're supposed to more dancing. I could dance with the pipette. They're just going to shake their heads and be like, who is this girl? There are a lot of opportunities. The head of the OSBI, which OSU, I got to do it over because I said OSU instead of UCO, and that would be bad.